Yo, what is up, y'all? It's coming back here again today with another video. The NBA draft has come and went, and it was a lot of fun. And the next thing up on the NBA calendar is free agency. It's a huge part of every NBA calendar year because unlike a lot of leagues, the NBA free agency is ridiculous. Players move left and right, and even when there aren't crazy signings, there are trades. So much happens during free agency, and that all starts in just a few days on June 30th at 6 p.m. I might live stream during the beginning of free agency, by the way, so if you do want to see that, please let me know in the comments and leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on that live stream. But I kind of wanted to come here today and make some predictions about where some players might end up. Now, I will say, I'm not like a plugged in sources type of guy. These are just complete guesses. Most of these are probably going to be pretty wrong. So if you're coming back to this video later, or if I have your favorite team's free agent or a free agent that you want on your favorite team going somewhere else, I apologize. It's kind of just what I'm thinking right now. I'm going to be wrong on most of this stuff, but I thought it'd be kind of fun. And this year is pretty fun. While it's not a stacked draft or free agency class like it's been in the past couple years, there are still some really big names in this free agency class. So I'm going to go ahead, give you a couple names, tell you where I think they go, give you a little bit of reasoning why, stuff like that. We're going to go through maybe like 10, 12 names. I'm not going to go all the way down the board to like where DeMarcus Cousins is going at this point in his career. We're going to stay with some of the top guys. I appreciate y'all watching. And let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. A report came out today that he's likely to re-sign, and even before that report, it seemed like he probably would. He's at least going to sign. Maybe he gets traded pretty soon down the line, whether it's at like this year's deadline or maybe next offseason when the Wizards realize it was a huge mistake. Something like that. He was probably going to re-sign. The Wizards are going to give him a ton of money, and while I like that for Beal a lot because he should go get his bag, I don't like it for the Wizards. I think they need to move on. I think they need to start rebuilding, kind of turning things around. I saw this quote today that I'm honestly not sure if it's true or not from their general manager, who said, "We will never tank." That is a bad mindset. You have to tank in the NBA, or you're going to be stuck in this middle ground that the Wizards have been stuck in for a very long time. They've got to go ahead, trade Bradley Beal, trade Kristaps Porzingis, and any other players of value. Keep the young guys you have like Rui, Johnny Davis, Denny Avdija, amongst others. Go ahead, start to just kind of build around those guys. Go for a pretty good draft pick this year. If they could somehow bottom out, because a lot of the teams in the East and the West are getting better and better, if they traded Kristaps, Beal, and just let the young guys play, they'd probably be terrible, and they've had a pretty good chance at maybe scoring a generational prospect in Victor Wembanyama in this upcoming draft. But I do think they end up giving Beal the Supermax, and they play that out this year. Next up in the shooting guard department is Zach LaVine. And there have been a lot of rumors about where he might go. A lot of rumors, especially early on in the offseason, that he's more likely to leave the Bulls than people thought. However, I think that Zach LaVine will end up back on the Chicago Bulls. There aren't many teams with cap space that can really put him in a better position than the Bulls can at this moment. They've got Lonzo. They've got him when he comes back. DeMar DeRozan just had an incredible season where he was an MVP candidate for a big portion of the year. They also have Vucevic, who wasn't great, but he's still a decent player. And even at worst, they could package him and some young guys like a Kobe White, an Ayo Dosunmu, or Patrick Williams alongside Vucevic to maybe get an upgrade at that center position. So I do think Zach LaVine stays. Chicago took the first chance on him, giving him his first big contract. I think he repays them by staying. Third up is James Harden, and I'm not going to really talk about him too much. Harden's going to be back on the Sixers, I think on a shorter term deal. There's rumors that he's probably going to take a pay cut to let the Sixers bring in some more talent, which I do think makes a lot of sense, and that would be really noble of him. I think he does want to win a championship pretty badly, so it does make sense, but I think it's pretty consensus he's going to stay on the Sixers. So three guys that aren't going to change teams. That's when we get to number 4, Kyrie Irving. Hey y'all, Cone from the future here. Yesterday, when I recorded this video, a day before you're seeing it, I predicted that Kyrie was going to go to the Miami Heat. He's next up on our list, and now that feels wrong. The more that I think about it, more rumors have come out today as I'm uploading the video that really kind of is swaying me that he's going to go to the Lakers. It just kind of seems like there's a lot of smoke there. It's where he wants to be. I think ultimately he is going to leave for the Lakers, whether that's in some kind of sign and trade or like a 3-team deal or whatever, where maybe like Westbrook goes to OKC in a salary dump, they buy him out. Kyrie goes to LA, some other stuff goes to Brooklyn, something along those lines. I think Kyrie ends up in Los Angeles. I think it just kind of seems like, especially with superstars in the modern NBA, where there's smoke, there's fire. We saw that with the whole James Harden situation, wanting to go to the Nets and then inevitably the 76ers. We've seen it over the past few years that when superstars want to go somewhere, they usually get their way and end up there. So that's what I'm going to go with. Kyrie going to LA where he wants to be, to reunite with LeBron James, play alongside Anthony Davis, and reform a contender in LA. That's what I'm going to go with. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm buying into the smokescreen, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hedge my bets on that and say that that is where he ends up. So that's kind of my thoughts on Kyrie. Just wanted to make that quick change to the video because I think I got that last one wrong. But let's head back to past/present cone. Number 5, we have DeAndre Ayton, the first of the restricted free agents on this list. And Ayton is really interesting because last year, the Suns made the run all the way to the NBA Finals, and this past season, they bowed out in the second round. Tensions were reportedly high between him, Monty Williams. He was unsatisfied with his role, and all the reports say that he's going to be gone, that the Suns are looking for some kind of sign and trade partner. Now, there have been rumors that the Pistons are really interested in him and could throw him a bag, but now that they brought in Jalen Brunson in this past draft, I'm a little more hesitant to think that he ends up there. There's a team like the Charlotte Hornets that could really use him, but they're already worrying about potentially losing Miles Bridges, who we'll get to in 1 second, the next player up. So I kind of went a little out of the box. I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers. I think it makes sense. DeAndre Ayton gives them a younger option at the center alongside Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, Chris Duarte, and it would allow them to make some of the trades that they've been looking to make. Miles Turner would be included in a sign and trade package to the Phoenix Suns, and I think he gives the Suns a guy who really could benefit greatly from Chris Paul and also just in general help out in their system a lot. He gives them some three-point shooting that while Ayton can shoot the three, he's not as much of a shooter as a Miles Turner. He can block some shots inside, do a little bit of everything for that team. He gives them a solid center to replace DeAndre Ayton, and you could also include like a Buddy Hield from the Indiana Pacers or Malcolm Brogdon, who they've been rumored to be wanting to get off of his salary. So something along those lines I think makes sense for both sides. Hield could give you some shooting. I don't know if Brogdon is interested in a backup guard role, but if he's down for it, then go ahead. That's my thought on that trade. I think it makes sense. A little bit of a wilder one, but we'll see. Maybe I get that right. At number 6, we have Miles Bridges, and the Charlotte Hornets make the most sense. They can match any contract that he gets, but there's rumors that they're a little hesitant to match his contract, especially when you consider the fact that he removed Charlotte Hornets forward from his bio on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it was, and also just a couple other rumors that they don't maybe want to pay him that much money. He's also from Michigan, which, if you see where I'm going, I think he ends up on the Detroit Pistons. It makes sense. He's from that area, and they have plenty of cap space. They've been clearing up cap space with the Jeremy Grant trade, and just ultimately, it seems like they're gearing up to go for a restricted free agent or two. I think he makes a lot of sense in a Pistons uniform. Fits on that team greatly. He can play the 4 alongside Cade, Ivy, Sadiq Bey, and whoever they play at the 5, whether it's Duran or who knows, maybe they do make a run for a DeAndre Ayton, but I think that he makes a lot of sense there, fills a need, and ultimately the whole Michigan connection, I'm going to go with him ending up there. The 7th guy I have on this list is Jalen Brunson. There are 2 teams that he's going to go to. He's either going to stay in Dallas, which they have his rights, they can match contracts, or the New York Knicks. The Knicks have been very, very clearly going after him really hard. They hired his dad as an assistant coach. They traded Kemba Walker on draft night to the Pistons to clear up some cap space. They're clearly going for Jalen Brunson, and I think they're going to end up getting him. I think ultimately the Dallas Mavericks, Jalen Brunson's going to say, I kind of want to go be the lead guard in New York. I think the Mavericks are going to let it happen. They can kind of figure things out. They still have Spencer Dinwiddie. They brought in Christian Wood. They can kind of pick up the offensive production that he's going to be taking away from them in that move. And ultimately, they might not want to pay him like $30-some million like the Knicks are probably going to. Whether or not that's a good move, we'll see for the Knicks, but ultimately, I think he does go there. The next few guys, I have a bunch of guys staying, so I'll kind of run through them quick. Anthony Simons is going to end up back on the Blazers. There's no chance they don't match his contract. Colin Sexton is a guy I could definitely see leaving after the Cavaliers had a really successful season this past year without him, but I do think he comes back to the Cavs on kind of a smaller deal. And finally, Yusuf Nurkic, I think, goes back to the Portland Trailblazers. There's no reason for him to leave. He's going to go back there. Then I have two more guys who I could see leaving their teams that I think are just impactful players. I have Mitchell Robinson on this list, with the New York Knicks clearly gearing up to go after a guy like Jalen Brunson. There's rumors that Mitchell Robinson has been unhappy with his role. I'm going to go and say Mitchell Robinson leaves the team and joins the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls could really use a backup big, and Robinson, I think, would be willing to play for a team that could help him win a little bit more, like the Chicago Bulls. He's not going to get a ton of money due to injury concerns, so the Bulls could probably add him on a mid-level exception. And finally, the last player I'm going to predict is PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker had a pretty solid year for the Miami Heat. He makes sense on that roster, but there was tons of rumors that Daryl Morey is going to throw him a 3-year, $30 million deal on the 76ers, and if he gets that type of deal, there's no way he passes it up. If he can play till he's 40, making $10 million a year, he's going to take that deal. So I'm going to bank on Daryl Morey trying to bring back another Rocket. He's going to go to the Sixers. Maybe not on a deal that crazy, but I think Daryl Morey does throw him a decent bit of money to come in and be kind of that dog type player that the Sixers really, really need on their roster. A hard-nosed guy that can hit some threes, play some defense, and is proven to be able to be a winning player, playing on the Bucks, the NBA champion Bucks, as well as the Miami Heat that went to this last year's Eastern Conference Finals. So those are my thoughts on where some of the top free agents will land. Let me know what you thought. Which ones do you think I got completely wrong? Which ones do you think I'm right about? Let me know, like I said, who you want your favorite team to pick up in free agency, or if your team has a free agent, do you think you keep them or not? Let me know all that in the comment section below. For right now, I appreciate y'all watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Helps me out a ton. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.